You're covering a few tight races down there. There are a number of races that could make the difference for the Democrats in the House. I think it's five or six or so. You're talking to women as well. Tell me what you're hearing out there.
Yeah, there's 4 in this county alone. And you know, Katie, this is an area that's as iconic Republican as the view you see behind me. But something started to shift with Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton won here, the first Democrat since 1936. And now we're seeing things like this. Mostly women who are coming out. Right now they're doing Get Out the Vote. There's also a TV ad I can show you. It was put out by a women's Republican PAC. And it has Republican women in it, but they're women who this year are going to vote Democratic, and one of them is with me. Catherine, thanks for having us to your house. You've been a Republican for at least 26 years, you said. Why are you flipping now?
I believe that the Republican Party has changed. We used to be a party of personal responsibility, and now we're a party of personal attacks.
You also told me you have a daughter.
I do. She's 18. She just turned 18. She's voting for the very first time. And I felt it was my responsibility to stand up and be counted and make a change and not lose more rights for women.
What we're hearing from the president in his closing arguments and a lot of Republicans is about immigration. The president said yesterday, in fact, that if somebody throws rocks at U.S. military at the U.S.-Mexico border, they can shoot. What goes through your mind when you hear things like that?
I really think that we need to have a difference between asylum seekers and illegal immigration. There's a huge difference to me. As a mom with 2 kids, if a mom travels across thousands of miles to come to the U.S. as an asylum seeker, they're not the same as illegal immigrants.
So you've got all these folks here, and I just want to pull out and ask you all a question. How many of you, because I know many of you have been going door to door, and some of you are on the phone with folks, how many of you have been hearing that kind of story from Republicans? How many of you think there will be a surprising number of Republicans who flip and vote Democratic this time? All of you, really? She lives with one. There you go. There is an interesting thing, Katie, that a lot of women are telling me that among their friends, the women are flipping, their husbands not so much. But the New York Times looked at NPPs, that's essentially independents, no party preference here. This is not true across California, but it is in Orange County. They're seeing them turn toward the Democrats pretty strongly. If that's an indication, we could see a big sea change here in really what is the Reagan heart of Republican country in California, Katie.
Very interesting. Our opening question, Chris, was about whether Donald Trump or President Obama had the ability to inspire more voters who may still be undecided. Is the past president, is President Obama coming into play for voters here, or is it more that Donald Trump is turning them off so much?
So let me ask, though, how many of you have been, and I'm going to ask you to pick one or the other. Raise your hands if you've either been inspired by Obama or it's more about being turned off by Trump. How many of you are being inspired by Obama? A few. How many of you have been just turned off by Donald Trump? Yeah, there's a lot of double hit. You know, I've talked to a lot of women. I went to 3 different events yesterday. Obviously, I'm here today. They talk about mom issues. They talk about being afraid to let their kids listen to the president. They talk about being values voters, and they say these are not our values, separating families at the border. These are not our values when we hear the kind of language that we've heard. I also hear, frankly, disappointment. I think that one woman said, I'm taking it out on my local Republican congressman because I don't think Republicans beyond the president have stood up. Now, obviously, these are people who have been activated by this, so they have a particular way that they're thinking about it. But I have to say that going with people out into the community, talking to people out in the community, there is a sense there is a shift here.
Very interesting. And Chris, I'm jealous of your location today. The weather looks a lot nicer than it is here in Atlanta. We got kind of a gloomy day for Atlanta. Kind of unusual, but it looks amazing. Enjoy yourself.